With the Bunnymeister out of the picture for half of the reviews, I think I should approach a new partner in crime. The only problem is, I'm just so nervous.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Cage. You're right? First year MTech? Would you mind joining me for the review today?
I love you.
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage, and as you know, the Indian cinema is vast and rich, and it's not just one industry but many, with a lot of different languages as well. And on this channel we at least try to cover all kinds of different movies. And when I checked how long it has been since we talked about a Kannada language movie, I was quite surprised and also a bit ashamed, because if I'm correct, it was last year in August when we reviewed Pawan Kumar's thriller Lucia. For today I decided to go with a very recent film and one that has been received a lot of praise. Dia is a romantic drama that was written and directed by K.S. Ashoka. It tells the story of the title character Dia, a young introvert student who falls in love with Rohit. But before she is able to confess her feelings or even talk to him once in her life, he leaves college to go working in another country. Now, it's very difficult to talk about a movie without giving away some of its turns, but I will try to be a bit vague where it's necessary. Something that I can say is that Dia is not just about one love story, it's actually about two. And maybe I should start by giving my overall feelings about the film. Dia is a very emotional film that takes you on a journey full of highs and also lows. It can be enchanting and uplifting, full of love and happiness, but it can also be soul-crushing and devastating with the potential to disturb or even haunt. It's a film about big emotions, and as it is said several times by our characters, life is full of surprises and miracles, but it's also full of problems and pain. And for me, that applies to the film as well. Overall, I really enjoyed it. It's full of wonderful performances and it has a lot of heart. But I think the last 10 minutes really overdo it and to a degree kill the film for me. But I will go into that at the end in a little spoiler segment. For now, let's go back to the very beginning. Before the film introduces us to this lovely, innocent college romance, it actually starts with Dia on some train tracks, determined to kill herself. So we already know that something terrible will happen. Now, the first love story is her falling head over heels in love with her senior student Rohit. It's the love at first sight type. To be completely enchanted by someone you don't even really know at all. And yet every time you see him or her, your heart is racing and you are not able to speak or even think clearly. The first 15 minutes of the film are just that. Dia in love and trying to make the first move. It's really sweet, and the young actress Kushi is extremely likable. She's the kind of crazy in love that's just adorable. She's constantly rehearsing the words she wants to say to Rohit, and the film has a very sweet way of telling the story. For example, by dissolving all the other people around her crush, by showing us her beating heart, by some very fast editing that underlines her trying to find the right outfit, or by the way she's approaching him, and the music accompanying her advances and then choking because she doesn't have the courage yet. This whole first act reminded me very much of the French film Amélie, this secluded dreamy girl, the quirkiness, but especially some of its music as well. One track in particular is very close. Then a few years pass and all of a sudden Rohit is back in Dia's life, living just across her room. And again, the way her affections are shown is really lovely, with her looking through the peephole, waiting for Rohit to leave his room. And then they do actually get a chance of love, because life really is full of surprises and miracles. But as I said before, also of problems and pain, and it's only for a short time until something very unexpected happens. And now the next act of the film is all about Dia meeting this other young man, or rather, that young man trying to meet Dia. It's wonderful how different the second romance plot is from the first one, and it reminded me very much of my own experiences in life. Not only are the two men in Dia's life completely different, but the way she falls in love with them is as well. With Adi, it's very different than with Rohit, and Prithvi Amber is so much fun to watch. Rohit, played by Dikshi, was more the dream boy kind of guy, and Adi seems to be more like a lovable scoundrel. He has to get Dia out of her shell and also let her appreciate life and herself again. Where the first romance begins with instant affection, the second has to earn it, and again, it's a super lovely journey. It is unapologetic sweet, and the music is also very present most of the time, but if you're looking for such a romantic drama, this one definitely has the potential to enchant. The actors, who are all rather fresh faces without much history on film, are really charming, especially Prithvi Amber as Adi is like a ray of sunshine. He has also a super adorable relationship with his mother Lucky, wonderfully portrayed by Pavitra Lokesh. Unfortunately though, the relationship of Dia and her father is quite underwritten. It gets established that there are some tensions there, but it's never really explored at all and it stays a bit shallow. With a runtime of over 2 hours, there are some big story revelations later on, and the first one is really heavy. But it works in the context of the film because Dia is this roller coaster of emotions where all the uncertainty can be transformed in pure happiness in an instant, but on the other hand, all that is good can be over just as quick. Dia is a pretty low-key film when it comes to budget, but through the careful direction, the lovely newcomer performances and the emotional score, it becomes a big emotional film nevertheless, and its characters really got quite close to my heart. And if it weren't for its ending, I would give Dia a very good 7 out of 10. More like 7.4, but I don't do that. But there are those last 10 minutes, and because of that I simply can't. It's still good and worth seeing, but the ending of a movie is of upper importance for its overall effect, and I thought they really went too far with it. I can see many people appreciating the ending and its bold decisions, but for me it wasn't justified. I think I can talk about it without spoiling it completely, but I have to put up a spoiler warning nevertheless, so you have been warned. In the last 10 minutes of the film there are 2 huge tragedies, and I think both weren't necessary. No, that doesn't mean that the film has to cater to my personal preferences and tell the story I want to see, but I don't think it's called for in the context of the film itself. The first of the 2 tragedies comes pretty much out of nowhere, and it is also blatantly shown in a way that suggests a character is at fault for it. Which is not true in my eyes and also rings very manipulative. The acting in that moment is extremely powerful and it got to me, but I still thought the decision was cheap. But the second tragedy felt even more baffling, as if the movie wanted to end as tragic as possible, to really make a big emotional impact on the audience. And of course that moment also connects to earlier things in the film, but not only did it feel very cliché to me, but it also felt as if the movie sacrificed its characters for no particular reason other than being tragic. The whole film has these turns and shows how life can be wonderful but also cruel. After each high, just a few minutes later there's this devastating low, or at least a big new change. And this is also the case at the very end. You could say it's only consequent, but it feels also very contrived. There's just a limit of happy coincidences or bad timing, and there's also no deep meaningful message behind it, at least for me. I thought this could have been the moment to break the cycle, and I think both the characters and the audience deserve that. So in German I'd say, Dia ist ein wundervoll romantischer und emotionaler Film. Toll gespielt, ruhig und doch sehr ausdrucksstark. Leider funktioniert das Ende für mich überhaupt nicht, wodurch der Gesamteindruck doch stark leidet. I give Dia 6 out of 10. It's more like 6.2, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Dia. And also let me know what do you think about the ending. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and now also on Patreon, simply at @TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.